Hey, it's Thanksgiving. How about a nice feel-good family movie? Let's review WinEVILle. No, scratch that. This is completely fucked up. WinEVILle stars Brandy Roderick, Texas Battle, Casey King, Carolyn Hennessy, and is directed by Brandy Roderick. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2024 review. Gonna review this movie called WinEVILle, which I recently discovered. It's a very low budget movie directed by first-time director Brandy Roderick. You might remember her from Baywatch, and she was also the Playboy Playmate of the Year. You might call her an entrepreneur because it's cool when, I guess you could call them like entertainers. And I say that because they have so many different titles, right? Actor, producer, director. They wear many hats, right? And I couldn't think of a more perfect time to review a movie like this because it involves family horror, thinking back to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that type stuff. And it can be really screwed up. And we're going to get into how screwed up this movie is. But first, I want to give you a quick plot synopsis. And also, this will be dedicated to David B. I am dedicating all my future videos to DCAP patrons and channel members. This will be a fun one for sure. So Brandy Roderick, she plays Tess Lott. Her and her son Walter, they are going to this place called WinEVILle, which is, I guess, right outside of Las Vegas. And she is inheriting her father's estate. Her father just passed away. But, there's a kink in the chain because she does not have a good relationship with her father at all. And I mean at all. It's really bad. It's a traumatic past that she's had in her family, and so of course she wants to get as far away as she can from this, but she is inheriting his estate. But there's also another kink in the chain because once she gets there, her Aunt Margaret, played by Carolyn Hennessy, who has the most ridiculous wig I've ever seen, we'll call him her helper, Joe, who's definitely giving off those Henry Cavill vibes. They are living there, and they're about to be kicked out because Tess is inheriting this estate. Now, the first thing I want to let you guys know about this is a low-budget independent film. And this is a first-time director, Brandy Roderick. And I have to say, I have to give this movie mad props for the ambition. And you'll notice that right at the beginning. And I was wondering, I think this is a horror movie, but I'm not sure how far it's going. Oh yeah, this is definitely a horror movie. Within like 5 minutes, any preconceived notions about how much of a horror movie this is going to be were quickly put to rest. This young girl, she picks up Joe, and then quickly they're having this make-out hookup session. And then before you know it, there's a death. And a really violent death. And it was so violent, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll just say it involves a pair of hedge trimmers. We all love hedge trimmers in horror, right? They're nothing new. But I think this movie will show you that there's, more than one way to use a pair of hedge trimmers to kill someone. Now, Aunt Margaret is a major player in this movie. She's, let's just say pretty early on, you're not going to be rooting for Aunt Margaret. One, she wants to stay on the property. I understand that. But she's not really nice to Tess at all either, or her son. And she has a very, very strange relationship with Joe. I'm being very careful with my words because once, the onion is pulled back and all is revealed in this movie, you're going to see some pretty messed up stuff. This movie goes places that I would not have expected in terms of, let's just call it keeping it in the family. And early on, you're going to come to those conclusions, but you're still going to be surprised by what is revealed in the last act. This movie definitely has a lot of violence. It goes pretty far. You're going to see bodies being thrown in a meat grinder. You're going to see family dinners. This is Thanksgiving, and there's going to be a pot of chili, and you're going to be asking yourself, is that really chili? And I'm not going to tell you. You're going to see the town cop, played by Texas Battle, coming around because there's going to be missing bodies and some shenanigans and whatnot. I guess everything to make up a good recipe for a backwoods horror movie. Would it be a slasher? I guess technically you could call this a slasher, but I guess in the way that maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre is kind of a slasher, and I don't really think it is a slasher. if you're, talking about stalking and whatnot. There's really not like stalking in this movie. But now going into the cons, I do think this movie takes a bit to get going. Yeah, it starts off with a nice kill, but then they're definitely setting up this family dynamic and Tess getting used to the lay of the land and what's going on. I think they could have tightened that up a little bit. You're definitely going to notice the budget. Like I said, this is an independent film, and I definitely cut independent films some slack in that department. If this were a Blumhouse movie, I'd definitely be a lot harder on it. The biggest thing, and I guess the lesson here, is that it kept me interested the entire way through because of how crazy the story is and how it definitely kept me guessing. And the acting's not bad, actually, for an independent film. And I definitely have to give credit to Brandy Roderick for pulling off a decent job directing this movie. She had some interesting shots here and there, but she wasn't trying to get too flashy. She really just focused on telling the story. I think one of the biggest crimes in any movie, I don't care how big the budget is to be boring, right? We don't want to be bored by movies, and luckily this movie does not do that, especially once it starts picking up. And I'll tell you right now, this movie is not going to be for everybody, okay? This is not like a soft horror movie, and it goes into some pretty uncomfortable territory. This is not gateway horror, and I will even dare say that there might be some triggering moments in this movie for some people. So it's not going to be for everybody, I'll tell you that right now. But as a horror fan that loves backwoods slashers and crazy families and movies, I definitely dug this. So I'm going to give it just a straight up humdrum, for sure. Definitely check out WinEVILle if you get a chance. You can check it out on VOD. I'm not sure if it's out yet on VOD. If it's not, then I'll put some info there in the info box to let you know when it's out, or it might be out now. Also, be sure to come over to Kill Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays, Rudy Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my social, support me on Patreon, buy me coffee. Become a channel member. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out. Okay, spoilers, get out of here. You don't want to hear this, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She ends up having her dad's baby, and then she ends up making out with that baby in the present day. It's really, really messed up. Also, Aunt Margaret is not being a good babysitter to Joe when he's young, and it's definitely messing him up later in life. Jesus, this movie.